So there are a lot of different timelines in the Halloween franchise, and the Cult of Thorn timeline might be the weirdest one with the most ups and downs. So let's talk about it. What is up, everybody? Welcome to Mad Blood. Today I'm going to be talking about kind of the rise and fall of the Halloween Cult of Thorn trilogy, a trilogy and a timeline full of moments that I say to myself, this is exactly what I want in a Halloween movie, in a Halloween timeline. Great kills, great characters, great moments, but also a timeline full of moments where I say to myself, what is happening here? Where are we going with this movie? Where is this timeline headed? Of course, we'll unpack all of that in this. Now, this video is not really going to focus on Halloween 1978 and Halloween 2, the original, which are both part of this timeline. This is mainly, like I said, going to focus on Halloween 4, 5, and 6, this Cult of Thorn trilogy. So let's just get right into it. It starts off, of course, with Halloween 4, which essentially to us is revealed that Michael, after the events of Halloween 2, after the fire, after the explosion, all the shit that went down in Halloween 2, he's basically been in like this comatose state for 10 years, locked up, put away, you know, kind of up to nothing, really. He hasn't been able to be up to no good or anything like that. And Laurie Strode now in this timeline is dead. You know, all that investment we put into Laurie, it's just kind of like, well, yeah, she's gone. She died in a tragic accident, but she did have a kid. She had a kid named Jamie Lloyd, of course, which we'll get to know throughout this entire timeline very well. An iconic character in the just in the genre and in horror and Halloween in general, of course. You know, played by a young Daniel Harris, who's great. We'll get into all of that, of course. But one of the things with Halloween 4 for me, let's talk about Michael here for a second. I actually don't hate the mask in Halloween 4. Yeah, I do kind of wish that they would have gone the route of just like the bandaged up Michael, which would have been pretty badass and I think would have become very, very iconic in this franchise without a doubt. We see that early in the movie, yes. But overall, like the look of Michael is a big problem that I have with Halloween 4. I don't want to necessarily say it's a nitpick because it's Michael Myers, but still, I don't love the look of Michael Myers in Halloween 4. And that's one of the things where we start to indicate where things are going to get a little bit weird in this timeline. The look of Michael in the original 1978 and in Halloween 2, the original, incredible. You know, I love basically every aspect of those two incarnations of Michael Myers early in the franchise. But now in Halloween 4, he's starting to look a little bit weird, you know, has the shoulder pad look to him, especially later on in the movie on the rooftop and stuff. Just looks a little weird, a little awkward. Doesn't look like the Michael Myers we've came to know and love, right? Of course. So, but Halloween 4 also has so many things that are great about this movie. This movie is also very, very cozy, has some great late 80s vibes to it. I was a young kid in the late 80s, so that kind of, you know, hits a tone with me in a little bit. Yeah, I was very, very small, but I kind of remember a little bit here and there, especially looking back on videos and photos and stuff like that. But one of the things, of course, Halloween 4 is well known for is the intro, which is great fall, autumn, Halloween vibes to it, right? That's iconic. That's incredible about this movie. I also like in Halloween 4 how the town kind of like comes together. Almost reminds me a little bit of Halloween Kills, of course, which came out much later, but still, like that's kind of fun. That's kind of cool. I also used to live in Salt Lake City for a little while where they filmed a lot of this movie. So some of the places where they, you know, filmed the movie, I can remember very well. Like my wife and I actually took our engagement photos at the spot. It's like a little canyon where like they think the town people think they see Michael in the bushes and they shoot at him. It's like a little, I don't even know what you call that damn thing. But over there, like we took some of our engagement photos right in that area. That's kind of cool. That's kind of a thing that hits home for me personally. And also just to piggyback off of kind of what I said a little bit earlier, like this is our introduction, of course, to Daniel Harris, to Jamie Lloyd as a character. This kid who's a great child actor, a kid you feel for, you know what I mean? She doesn't have her actual biological parents around. She's, you know, she gets bullied a lot, but she is such a nice kid who means so well. And we know there's going to be tragedy coming to this kid as the movie kind of plays out, right? Halloween 4 also has a fun score to it. It's like this late 80s, almost a 90s type of a feel to it. It's kind of like a tingy Halloween type of a score, which is a great time. I really enjoy that. And Halloween 4 is also just full of fun moments. Of course, at the end of the movie, we get the big, like, kind of action sequence. Obviously, all the stuff that goes down in the house, which is fun with the kills and stupid character decisions and things like that, which is a good time here and there. But yeah, the big like car sequence at the end as Michael climbs onto the truck. He's throwing people all over the place. Michael gets ran over, which is hilarious. He flies through the fence onto the ground. The cops show up. All the stuff that goes down with that. Obviously, at the very end, where it's like, you don't even check really to make sure he's really dead. Of course, that's a trope in the genre, but kind of a moment where you're like, all right, come on, guys, but still fun regardless, nonetheless. And then, of course, at the end of the movie, we get introduced to this angle with Jamie's character that possibly Michael's evil has creeped inside of her as we see Jamie in the clown costume. Yeah, recycled from the original Halloween, of course. That's not great. I don't necessarily love that. But Jamie, a very sinister moment, especially for a kid who you can tell is a very good kid, is now evil and has now gotten her first kill. But that's Halloween 4, an iconic movie, a movie that many people consider their favorite movie or a top 3 movie in the franchise, especially if you have nostalgia for Halloween 4 in that era. Halloween 4 is just fun. It's a good time. I don't think it's the best movie in the franchise. I don't think it's top 3 in the franchise for me, but still a good time with some great moments despite the holes in the movie. But where things start to get a little weird for me is Halloween 5. Without a doubt, which to me is the most boring movie in the franchise. Now, I do like every movie in this franchise. Every movie in this franchise does have like rewatchability for me and does have some good moments here and there. But Halloween 5 is just kind of a weird movie in general. So of course, like you're wondering going into watching this movie, okay, what's going to happen with Jamie? How is her story going to kind of unfold? And they essentially just decide to ditch that aspect of it and go, we're just going to essentially make a Michael Myers movie again, right? We got Jamie Lloyd back again. Yeah, we do see her, but now she can't talk. Now we've got this whole aspect of like, she can kind of like feel and almost see what Michael Myers can see, which honestly, guys, I hate that aspect of this movie. It gets really annoying. The constant like seizures from Jamie's character gets really annoying. Her inability to talk is just kind of frustrating at times and not that enjoyable to watch for me either. So technically Halloween 5 does pick up right after the events of Halloween 4, but then we do get this like time jump like 1 year later, which is kind of weird. Like, okay, Michael was just sleeping in this dude's place for all that time somehow, for some reason. Who knows why? It's just a weird aspect of it. I will say, though, and I've mentioned this in previous videos as well, that whole moment when Michael is like floating down the river, there's the explosions and all that stuff going on. I know a lot of people think it's silly. I actually think that is pretty damn epic. I enjoy how that's shot, and I enjoy that whole sequence. When the music kicks in, kind of gives me chills. Now, since we're talking about Michael, I know for a lot of people, the look of Michael Myers in Halloween 5 is not their favorite look or even a top 3 look in the franchise by any means. But to me, actually, it's a pretty mid-tier look overall in a mid-tier mask. But I think it looks weird in kind of a creepy way. His mask I'm talking about. It's kind of creepy in that way. It's not like too goofy or anything like that. It looks just enough weird that it's actually kind of a little bit scary to me in some ways, which is fun. I also think Don Shanks playing Michael Myers in this movie does a pretty good job. I think there's some moments, there's some bad moments and some good moments, which we'll talk about, of course, overall. But, to piggyback off of, talking about Danielle Harris as well, like the acting, once again, despite the flaws of the script and the overall story with Danielle Harris's character, her acting is once again incredible in this movie and pulls you in right away, makes you feel for this kid again over and over and over. And she's just great. I mean, that's a reason why she is so iconic in the genre and is so beloved to this day, of course. But I also think those moments when they add in Loomis's ability to kind of like predict the future through Jamie, like when he predicts that she's going to stabilize and things like that, is another one of those moments in this movie that's very confusing. It just is something that when I watch the movie, I say, what is even going on right now? I don't understand what's happening, and it's also kind of stupid. There's also moments in this movie where you're kind of starting to feel invested. You're kind of starting to feel some tension, and then they just pull you right out of it. Like, of course, when the cops show up, those 2 cops, and you get like the clown sounds, like, what is happening here, guys? I don't understand. Like, you're just tearing the tension out of the screen almost literally, and it just blows my mind. But despite that, we also get other moments which are pretty fun, like arguably the most iconic Loomis line in the entire franchise when he says, "I prayed that he would burn in hell, but in my heart, I knew that hell would not have him." But then it just shows like the ups and downs of this movie and of this timeline, because you get moments like that. But also to me, like Loomis, God rest his soul, this is definitely the movie in the franchise where his character almost just becomes an unlikable character to me. There's also these other moments in the movie that are just confusing or a big letdown. Like there's the moment like Rachel's death in the movie. She's such a big character and it's like, okay, that's how she goes out. That's how we're going to find her body. Really, guys? Like that's what we're doing here? There's also that moment where Michael tries to run over Jamie and then the cops just kind of just leave. Nothing really happens. Like they don't even really do like a big search. They don't even really put much effort into it. It was like he was right here. He's probably nearby. What are we doing here? Speaking of the cops just leaving, like when they go to the house with Jamie, the whole police department is there essentially, and they just get a call and they're just like, "All right, Jamie, peace out. We're leaving you here," even though we pretty much know that Michael is coming for you. So if we wanted to find Michael, we should probably stay nearby with you. But no, we'll just kind of leave you here alone because we just couldn't really come up with a better way to figure out how to get Jamie and Michael in a place kind of by themselves. Now, I did say I don't hate the overall look of Michael. I think it's weird in kind of a creepy way. But there are some moments in this movie that make Michael completely silly and not scary at all. There's moments towards the end of the movie where Michael's standing like 15 feet away from Loomis and just kind of just standing there, staring at him with his knife up. What are you doing here? Usually he looks so goofy, so ridiculous, not scary at all. And overall, I'm just kind of standing here like, what's going on, guys? I will say also, they should have really leaned into the whole, like, Loomis has lost his shit completely in this movie. They should have leaned into that. They should have leaned into the whole aspect of, like, okay, Loomis is willing to sacrifice Jamie, but they didn't really lean enough into that to make it actually seem like a real possibility when they do kind of tease that moment. Also, at the end of Halloween 5, when the whole, like, police station slaughter happens, so we've built up Jamie's character to be this kid who's wise beyond her years, who's a very smart kid, who kind of knows what to do in a lot of situations, even when the adults don't. But she makes a huge dumb decision here at the end of the movie that makes her character look bad to walk into the police station, which of course ends up making her get captured by the cult. So yeah, that's Halloween 5, a movie, like I said, with some moments that are very good, some moments that are iconic, but also some of the dumbest moments in the entire franchise for me. And overall, probably my least favorite movie in the franchise because I just think it's probably the most boring Halloween movie in the franchise. Like I said, it's not a terrible movie. It's not a movie that I'll never go back and rewatch. But as far as the franchise go, my least favorite movie in the franchise, just full of some ups and crazy downs. But yeah, Halloween 6 though. Now time to talk about Halloween 6, which is a movie that I do like more, obviously, than Halloween 5. So Halloween, The Curse of Michael Myers, takes place 6 years after the events in Halloween 5. So Jamie Lloyd now, we discover Michael and his niece, Jamie Lloyd, have basically been abducted by the Man in Black. This confusing, of course, like druid-like cult, and we get introduced to this whole aspect of like, okay, this is what Michael is driven by. Why is Michael so evil? We've asked ourselves, of course. And always through like, a horror franchise, through any franchise really, they always try to take the route of let's explain things. Let's try to dive deep and give our own theories on some sort of things, which I don't always mind. I mean, like, hell, just take a swing at it. It might be fun. As long as I'm getting like more movies from an IP that I enjoy, that's okay. But this aspect, of course, not everybody's favorite. I don't hate it. I actually enjoy like a lot of the backstory and the mythology and the different stuff, like the Celtic stuff with the Halloween kind of just like holiday in general. So there is some stuff here that I do enjoy. But yeah, we find out here basically Michael is driven by the curse of Thorn, which essentially forces a person to kill their entire family as a blood sacrifice to keep the cult alive. So now in this movie, Jamie is 15 and Jamie is pregnant. And we have some moments here where it's on Halloween Eve. Jamie gives birth. She escapes from this facility, which, by the way, Does Michael just like roam the halls in this facility all day and all night? Does Michael also like attend the employee pizza parties and stuff like that? I don't know. Just a thought there. In this movie, there's also some funny parallels to the intro to Rob Zombie's Halloween 2 when he gives like the layout of like what the white horse thing means, because that's usually never a good thing. You have to explain something like that. It usually means that whatever you're trying to come up with is probably too confusing and weird for most of your audience. And in this movie, they do something similar. They have these little moments where they have to like really lay it out to us because they think either we're too stupid to understand what's going on or it's just too confusing, and they're kind of admitting that. They have moments where like when Jamie's giving birth to her baby and the nurse is like, push Jamie Lloyd. Like, why would she use her full name? You're just clearly just trying to tell us, okay, this is who this person is, even though they don't look 15 and also look nothing like the previous actress. They have other moments in the movie too, where like they're introducing like Dr. Loomis on the radio, and it's like the so very much retired Dr. Loomis, if you guys weren't sure what was going on with this. And also, here's what the entire world's been wondering about Michael these past 6 years. It's like, okay, retelling us it's been 6 years, okay, kind of explaining everything to everyone. It's just like, okay, guys, if you really have to explain things that on the nose, it's probably not a good thing. Now, to talk about Michael a little bit in Curse, I don't think Michael looks bad. I think Michael's kind of got a mid-tier sort of mask. It's kind of creepy a little bit. I think George P. Wilbur does a good job playing the character as well. He's got some creepiness to him and stuff, but there are some moments, man, where Michael just looks puffy. Like he's wearing a diaper or something. I mean, come on, look at that. And obviously, Michael's kind of staying up with the times a little bit with the hairstyle. He's got like that 90s spiked bedhead look going on. Now, in this movie, after Jamie gives birth, we get that whole scene where Jamie's trying to escape. She's trying to get away. She goes to this bus station, and there's so many moments that don't make any sense. First of all, she goes into the bus station. There's nobody there. Why doesn't she just keep going? I don't know. But anyways, and then she calls into the radio station and doesn't even tell the radio station where she is. She doesn't really explain anything. She doesn't really say like, come get me here. I need help. I need this. I got this going on. She doesn't really say anything. She just hangs up. Even though this movie does have its flaws, I do have a great time with this movie. I think the fall vibes in Curse are really good. It's got like these kind of like orangey tones to the movie just in general, and just feels like autumn, fall, Halloween time. There's a lot of that going on, which is great. This movie also has one of the best kills in the entire franchise. When John Strode gets to meet Michael Myers, gets electrocuted, he's foaming at the mouth, and then his head explodes. Like, that's a fun ass kill. I also think Paul Rudd as Tommy Doyle in this movie is great. I have a good time with his character. It gives us the fun little narration at the beginning of the movie, gives us some other stuff. He's kind of the guy working the computer, figuring everything out. I think Paul Rudd does a good job in this movie. And overall, I have a good time with this movie. I also love the end of Curse. I think it's got some fun moments taking place, back at Smith's Grove, something I would like to see more in the franchise. I think it's fun. We get some fun chase sequences, some good kills, just some fun moments. I will say, though, I do think the theatrical ending is a little weird. So Loomis just kind of says, I have some business to attend to. And then we see Michael's mask on the ground, and then we see a syringe, and then Loomis essentially just sounding like me on the toilet after I have some of that, the red sauce at Chipotle that I used to love when I was a kid, but I can't have anymore. But Loomis is just going all out. And I know, like, Loomis passed away, during the whole, like, end of the production, et cetera, yada, yada, yada. But still, the theatrical ending is a little weird. But yeah, those are my overall thoughts on the Cult of Thorn trilogy, the Cult of Thorn timeline. Definitely some great moments. Some of the best fall vibes in the entire franchise are found in the Cult of Thorn trilogy, without a doubt, especially in 4 and 6. And some good times overall. A lot of ups and a lot of downs, like I already mentioned, for sure. But thanks, everybody, for listening to me talk about it for a little bit, give you my thoughts, my review on the Cult of Thorn trilogy. If you want some more content from me right now, go ahead and check out one of these videos next to me. I've got a ton of Halloween content on the channel, ranking videos, reviews, all that good stuff. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss future content. Halloween's coming up very soon, guys. I can't wait. So stick around. There's going to be a ton of content all Halloween season. But thanks again for watching. My name is Matt, and I'll talk to you in the next one.